Please share this video if you can. It helps our Kenosha community. Thank you.
Well, Valerie.
Hi.
Concerns about misconduct and performance among some teachers have been raised by many members of the Kenosha community. How do you plan to ensure these teachers are held accountable for their actions, particularly in cases where student safety or educational outcomes are compromised?
Sure. So I believe we need stronger safety policies. The current policy is if somebody files a complaint, is they have to have a written complaint to the school board and the administration. And then there's multiple layers of administration. They investigate. In the meantime, nothing happens until a final determination is made. So I think we need to handle that more swiftly. There needs to be more clear reporting processes where people feel comfortable reporting issues that are happening. And I think that when there is an issue, that the teacher needs to be put on leave, depending on the severity of the issue, and that the students and staff feel heard, that they get a voice, and they feel protected. We've had multiple instances in the school district, and my daughter has had issues as well. So I've dealt with this before, and I think we just need to be stronger on that. Regarding teacher underperformance, I think that might come from a lack of training or understanding, and I think we need to advocate for more professional development, strong mentorship programs. I know we have some mentorship programs out there, but I know we lack a strong program in that. And we need clear expectations for our educators so that they can improve their performances. We also need to engage our community and our parents and give them a voice in how we address these issues so that they feel heard and protected as well. I think our students need to feel safe. They don't currently feel safe, and we have to have a system in place to address these issues so our students can focus on their education.
Teachers play a critical role in student success. Given the challenges of the recent budget cuts and the referendum failure, how will you support teachers with the resources, prep time, and professional development they need to excel in the classroom? What strategies will you use to retain talented teachers in the district?
Yeah, so I think we need to assess other districts that are similar in size. I took a look at Waukesha. I just was looking at other school districts and asked, they get 80 minutes of prep time for their high school teachers. I believe we get 50 minutes, and this was coming from one of the high school teachers. So I think we need to align our prep time for our teachers with other districts that are similar in size. We also need to balance the budget and take any available funds and put them back in the classrooms so that they benefit our teachers and give them the resources that they need to teach our students. And my background is business procurement efficiencies, and so I've worked with Chicago Public Schools, Milwaukee Public Schools, in finding efficiencies in their procurement processes to help save some of those funds so that we can allocate those funds back to the classroom. So, I think we also need to support partnerships with local universities and organizations to provide low and free training for our teachers, because we know resources are limited at this point. This also includes mentorship programs that I mentioned before and peer collaboration to strengthen instructional skills. Our teachers also need to feel heard. They need a voice. There needs to be better communication between the district and our teachers. I know teachers in this district have voiced to me that they don't feel heard, and we need to fix that. They need to have a voice in the decision-making process with the district. We also need to explore grants, community or business partnerships, and we need to look at state funding to help with classroom supplies, technology, and professional development. We need to also recognize our teachers for their amazing work. So, ones that have been here for long term, that have outstanding performance, we need to provide competitive pay for them that matches other school districts that are the same size as KUSD. We also need budget transparency, teacher support, and strategic resource allocation. We can create an environment where educators feel heard and supported, and I think that would help.
Given the recent referendum failure, how will you navigate political divides to prioritize student interests, balance the budget, protect critical services, and ensure support for teachers, including vital services for students with special needs?
So the board is supposed to be non-bipartisan. I think we've gotten away from that. We've let that get in the way, and that hurts our students and our teachers. So we need to work together, put our students first, their education first. We need to focus on balancing that budget and reduce administrative and support staff to match student enrollment drops. I think in the last 10 years, we've dropped 17%. If we cut the administration and the support staff by that amount, we'd be saving $11 million per year, and that doesn't include benefits, so savings could be a lot more than that. And we need to protect student programs and resources. We need to prioritize those programs that benefit the students, like fine arts. We all know our school district is known for the fine arts, and we shouldn't be threatening to cut those programs and keeping the bloated administration and support staff. I think the failed referendum shows the disconnect between the taxpayers and the district, and we need to engage the community and give them a voice on budget priorities. Currently, our students with disabilities are not having their IEPs or legal requirements met. I know this because I have a daughter with a disability and her IEP is not being met. So I've advocated for changes in the KUSD playground guidelines. She was left out of recess for 8 years. And so I advocated to change that to meet federal ADA laws that all playgrounds are supposed to be inclusive since 2010. I'm working with our local state assembly representative who's aware of the special education deficit. We're only being reimbursed 33% currently. So she is advocating for more funding, but we also need to balance the budget to provide them with the resources that are necessary to meet those legal requirements. One of the examples of where we are not doing this is the STEP program that is at the Boys and Girls Club. So the district signed a 25-year lease for this program. The facilities are not accessible. They are on the second floor. There's an elevator. We've asked the question, if that elevator shuts down, the protocol is to wait for EMS to arrive to get those students downstairs that cannot get down the stairs. That's not acceptable. That's a risk to these students. There are stair climbers that are available that we could purchase, and they're being told that they're not going to do that, which is shocking. They also get small student lunches. These are children to adults 18 to 21. They need more food for their needs. So that's not being provided. There's no security for them once you're in the building. You have access to get up to that area. So that's a safety risk. We need to provide them with the resources so that they can function and the staff can help the kids focus on their education and their needs. I think these students are left out the most. They're discriminated against, bullied, and the district has shoved that problem off to the side, and I find that unacceptable.
The district has faced significant budget challenges despite recent renovations. Why did this deficit occur, and what plans do you have to offset it now that the referendum has failed?
So rising operational costs, declining enrollment, ongoing staff expenses, and the district moving slow to close those schools have all contributed to that deficit. We need to offset that again. Going back to the administrative and support staff, we need to reduce that to match the student enrollment drop by 17% in 10 years. So again, if we do that, we'd be saving $11 million per year, not including the benefits. I did listen to the last executive session, and it was presented the district is actually not in a $19 million deficit. The deficit that they went to referendum with included expenses that would have happened if we had passed the referendum. The actual net budget position is 4.4 million deficit. So we do need to get creative in reducing contracts, which is my background. I think by moving to pre-negotiated contracts like GPOs, we could see cost savings there. We need to engage the community and taxpayers to gain their trust and how the district is managing the budget. So I will advocate for clear and accessible budget reporting, and I think we need community forums to give taxpayers an understanding of where their money is going. We need a sustainable financial plan, multi-year plan, instead of relying on referendums to fill that gap. And we need to ensure that we don't make cuts that harm students.
Parents have expressed a desire for greater transparency in what their children are being taught. How will you ensure that parents are fully informed about the curriculum, especially regarding topics that are sensitive or controversial? How do you plan to engage parents in decision-making regarding educational content?
As a parent of a KUSD student, I have a vested interest in this. I think parents should be given the right to decide what's age appropriate for their children. Advance notice should be given to us of what is going to be taught and what's given the opportunity to review the materials or bring up concerns and or opt out of that program if we choose. I think we could advocate for an online portal where parents could review curriculum materials, lesson plans, educational resources, textbooks, and supplemental materials, so they know what's being taught in the classrooms and to their children. We should be engaging parents in curriculum review and in those meetings, and to give input and address concerns in those meetings so they feel like they're being heard and that their students and their children are learning what they find acceptable.
Ensuring the safety and well-being of students is a top priority. How will you address any concerns related to student safety, including the protection of all students from bullying, discrimination, or other forms of harm, both physically and emotionally?
My own daughter has dealt with this in regards to her disability. I think instead of hiding behind policy and multiple layers of administration, we need a clear and accessible reporting system for any issues that our students are having in regards to this. Action should be taken swiftly, and we should not leave victims feeling like they're not heard or bullies not being disciplined. We need to ensure that students with disabilities receive necessary accommodations to participate safely in all activities, and we need to promote inclusivity through staff training and student programs that foster understanding and respect for children with disabilities. We need to restore discipline back to the teachers in the classrooms. Bullies or anyone harassing needs to be suspended or expelled, depending on the severity, and a full investigation is completed. There was an instance with a girl on a school bus where she was being harassed by a couple of other students. And instead of dealing with that and expelling or suspending the students, they were left on the bus, and this girl does not feel safe going to school. That's unacceptable. They should have been suspended or expelled until a full investigation was had, and this girl needed to feel safe, and she does not feel that way. We need to send a clear and consistent message that behavior is not tolerated and our victims feel heard and safe. I think we could partner with local organizations to promote mental health resources for students and families, while also engaging our local law enforcement to assess and improve on safety protocols and policies.
What criteria will you use to ensure that teachers are hired based on qualifications and experience rather than political or ideological preferences? How will you ensure that all teachers are equipped to provide an inclusive, high-quality education to all students?
So teacher certifications need to meet the job requirements. I think we need a more rigorous interview process that engages the community, such as the students, the parents, experience, and qualified teachers and community representatives. And we also need our teachers to demonstrate actual teaching ability. We need to promote better teacher mentorship programs from experienced and quality educators. And we also need to be training our teachers to be inclusive and sensitive to all students' needs. Our disabled students are left out the most, and there needs to be sensitivity training on how these students can be included in outside activities, social clubs, like field trips, graduation ceremonies, education, and sports. I think this way the teachers can help the students be more inclusive. And one of the ideas I had was actually an ability committee where parents of kids with disabilities, also special ed teachers, could help teach staff and plan for activities and facilities so that all students get an inclusive, fair, and equal education.
KUSD serves a diverse student body. How do you plan to ensure that the curriculum reflects and respects this diversity, including students from different racial, cultural, and socioeconomic backgrounds?
So our curriculum needs to reflect all cultures, racial, and socioeconomic backgrounds so that children see themselves and connect with the materials. We should be getting our students and staff out into the community. We have a diverse, wonderful community here in Kenosha County, and they need to learn by real-world experiences. There should be no difference in teaching students of any background. All students should feel included, and especially our most excluded group, which is the kids with disabilities. I think we should be partnering them in the classroom, partnering with outside organizations like the KAC, Dream Playground, that gives them an inclusive playground look and how it is to be someone with a disability on a playground, and going into our diverse neighborhoods. We need to provide fair and equal resources to all schools and help support students that need access to technology, supplies, academic supports, so that they can participate fully in their education.
How do you define positive socialization in schools? And why do you believe it is essential for student development? What role should the school board play in fostering social emotional learning and student engagement? And how would you ensure that academic success is balanced with meaningful opportunities for students to build interpersonal skills and relationships?
Positive socialization in our students is every student feeling heard, included, and it's essential so students feel confident in themselves, they speak up for themselves and others, and build a positive mindset. Schools should be promoting peer mentorship programs and group work to teach students how to work together and build healthy relationships with each other. And the school board should be developing policies that help foster positive and safe school organizations and environments where our students feel supported, and this includes anti-bullying initiatives. We need to get back to basics in the classroom to bring up the test scores and promote education first. This also needs to be balanced with extracurricular activities where students feel included with their peers. They need to feel part of a team and develop positive relationships. The activities themselves need to be more inclusive. Right now, students with disabilities either don't try out for sports or extracurricular activities because they aren't or don't feel included, my daughter being one of those. Grades come first. We need to hold our students accountable for this before extracurricular activities.
The latest NAEP results highlight poor student performance, and KUSD is no exception. With the pandemic leaving many students behind, what steps will you take to improve reading outcomes in primary grades and close learning gaps? How will you ensure these efforts effectively address students' academic needs and prevent further setbacks?
Sure. So Act 20, or the Science of Reading, is already being implemented in the school district from grades K through 3 with positive results. We all know funding is a challenge. Evers vetoed Act 100, which is the framework of spending for Act 20. So our state assembly representative is working on getting this funding released as well as the legislation. And she is also staying in contact with KUSD to address any challenges that they might have with implementation. I know one issue that was brought up was the speed to implement. So she's being kept in the loop and addresses these concerns with her colleagues. So I'll work to ensure that this communication continues. I think Act 20 is being effectively implemented. They're tracking the success and addressing challenges or concerns so that our student scores in reading improve and we have no setbacks.
Research shows that recess plays a critical role in supporting both mental health and academic performance. Will you commit to implementing a district-wide policy that guarantees recess for all students, including high school students, as part of the instructional day? How do you envision recess contributing to improved student behavior, reduced skipping of classes, and enhanced overall well-being?
Yes, I will commit to that. I think it's important for students to get at least 30 minutes of a break or recess every day. It helps to socialize and foster healthy relationships, helps them reset and focus on the rest of their day. It improves their mental health overall. But we also need to ensure that our playgrounds are inclusive so students of all abilities can participate fully in recess. It's actually a federal law that all playgrounds are supposed to be inclusive since 2010. And we need to engage those in the community who understand inclusive playground equipment to make sure that recess is accessible and inclusive for all of our students. One of my favorite quotes is from Mr. Rogers. Play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning. But for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood. So I fully believe this. Our recess helps our children focus and reduce stress. It improves physical health, it helps them develop relationships, communication skills. It helps them stay involved in school, so it avoids skipping classes. It improves the mental health of our students and supports their overall well-being. So this is important.
For the audience, why should I vote for you? What makes you stand out from the other candidates? And how will your leadership directly benefit our Kenosha community?
So I'm the mother of a KUSD student and a taxpayer in this community. So I have a vested interest in assuring that KUSD is successful. I'm advocating for balancing the budget, clear communication from the district, and meeting the legal requirements of our students with disabilities. We need stronger safety policies, and our students, our staff need to have their voices heard. Our community and our taxpayers also need to be part of that process. I have a business background in procurement efficiencies and finding cost savings that way so that we can channel those resources back into the school district and focus on what's most important, which is our students' education. Thank you.
As we close, we'd like to express our sincere gratitude to the candidates for their participation, to the dedicated team at Backyard Dream Productions for making this forum possible, as well as the many Kenoshans who contributed thoughtful and vital questions. Thank you to all the viewers for watching. We encourage you to please share this video so we can reach more members of our Kenosha community. Before I go, I'd like to quickly announce my first children's book I'm authoring and illustrating, titled Kenowhere, The Key to Knowing Kenosha, set to be published in 2026, so stay tuned. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to get out and vote on April 1st and let your voice be heard. And if you were curious, here's a little more info into what Backyard Dream is all about.
Ever since I was a kid, I always enjoyed making films in my backyard with all the neighbor kids. I built stages and we put on performances during family parties. And I always wanted to continue that dream into adulthood and start a production company and really show the 8-year-old self that anything's possible when it comes to dreams, and just make movies, make short films, working with corporate clients. All of that all encompasses my dream of my 8-year-old self. Over the past 10 years, we have done everything from short films to corporate clients and everything in between. We do live events, we go on location for clients, even do stuff in the studio. In the last 4 years, we really expanded the business into doing virtual production with a 10x30 LED wall, which is the same technology they're using in Hollywood. Normally, in a studio, you have a large green screen, and that green is replaced in post. In our studio with our 10x30 LED wall, we can do it in real time right in the camera. So we build the environments, and then we put them on the LED wall, and when you shoot that wall, you get a full parallax 3D of that world. This dream may have started in my backyard just by myself, but over the years the team has grown. We have Ken Stouffer as our producer, Mike Detterman as our director of photography, and Jeff Rodriguez as our creative director and virtual production supervisor. It takes more than just one person to make this all happen. It was very advantageous for me to start Backyard Dream in Kenosha because 1, it's my hometown, 2, we have a very creative community, and 3, we're between Milwaukee and Chicago, 2 large hubs in the industry. I want to continue to grow the business here because this community has been great and it's striving to something even better. One of the biggest missions of Backyard Dream is to work with students and young adults. And some of those opportunities include coming to the studio, taking a tour, experiencing the gear, experiencing a production, and ultimately hiring those students back to work here. And that means that we're keeping our students local and that they're able to work in their own backyard with the resources that we're able to provide. When we found out that Backyard Dream had won the Forward Award, it was very humbling to see that the community is supporting us, that we are making a difference in Kenosha for young adults and future companies that are coming here. This all started when I was 8 years old, and that dream has never changed, just the backyard has been getting bigger over the years. So I think it's important that you tell your story, you get out there and show the world that anything is possible, no matter how small your resources are at that time.